You up, man. You up. You up. You don't get your special, like, you know, one-on-one camera time.
Come on.
Straight live.
Come on.
Wide shot, motherfucker.
So I'm super excited today. I have one of my favorite brands in today and some of my favorite folks, actually. Today's going to be an awesome show. We're going to rap about a lot of things. We're going to talk about some topics. Everybody knows I try to bring in not only some of the best companies, but some of the best people. So I love these folks. They're awesome.
You're
They've
gonna
been
make me cry.
Yeah, cry.
I mean, we just got started.
So I got to hype it. So I'm super excited to have these people in. I can't thank them enough. I got the McCoys in here.
The McCoys, the real McCoys.
So we're here to talk a little Microtech, a little bodybuilding, a little fitness, a little bit of everything.
You know, that's what we do.
And we're going to get into it. So tell me, how the hell did you get into the knife world, and what the hell brought you into Microtech? How did it all start?
God. Of course, I'm just like every American boy. My grandfather collected knives, and when I was smaller, you know, there we go. He gave me my first knife when I was probably about 8 years old. Loved knives ever since. Got into guns as well through my grandfather and my father. So, you know, been shooting my whole life. You know, not to the level of that, you know, what we're doing now and the training that goes on now. But anyhow, my youngest son actually was doing a little bit of competitive shooting, steel challenge events. One day he comes into the living room and tells me and Kaylin, "Dad, we got to get into this knife industry thing. Look at all these beautiful knives." When Instagram first started coming out, you know, so he got really involved in looking at the pictures and stuff. So one night, Kaylin walked in his bedroom, and he's on the phone with some guy. He was like 12 years old.
Yeah.
He was on the phone with some guy that he had given his number to, and the guy was like 40-something years old. So we're like,
Yeah. I was
what's
like,
going on here? So anyway, you know, we decided to build some Instagram accounts ourselves so we could kind of monitor what was going on in his life. Ended up getting involved in the knife community. It was a fellow knife guy. So ended up getting involved in the knife community, fell in love with the people involved in it, and it is what it is from there. You know,
it's amazing. You know, a lot of people don't know, you know, you guys' backstory and kind of how you got there.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how Instagram and social media, one of the upsides of that is how it brings people together.
Yes.
And I try to explain that to folks. And what I like about it, and I was talking to Cutler was talking about, like, it forces you a little bit to look in the mirror and hold yourself to a higher standard and be more accountable, especially if you surround yourself on social media with people you look up to, or and I don't like to use the word look up to, but you kind of look and you say, damn, if they're working that hard, I got to work this much harder. I have to do this that much harder. I can't miss the gym, or I can't miss this because I know, you know, you're going, or I know Tony this one or that one. So you always stay on point. So that's definitely one of the upsides of it, and it kind of draws you into a world, and then you get to meet fantastic people.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old, and just like the fitness part that you're talking about, when Instagram first came out, I started looking at all these guys, looking at them my age, and I'd gotten to the point in my life where I'd almost started settling.
You didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I was getting to the point where, I'm going to quit working out as hard as I used to. I'm not competing anymore. I'm not doing jiu-jitsu tournaments anymore on the weekends. I'm not, I've got
We've
a beautiful.
always worked out though
I
as
know.
a family.
Yeah, we have, but not as hard.
Right.
You
right.
let it, and when I say not give a fuck, there's good not giving a fuck, and then there's bad not giving a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Q when he starts eating bad, that's bad not giving a fuck.
I didn't say that,
just
Q. That was
fucking,
him.
I mean,
Mike
bro.
won. Mike won.
Popeye's chicken sandwich
Every day.
But seeing people, like you and like Branch Warren and all those guys that are still our age, Tony Cinnamon, still pushing it to another level, trying to accomplish goals even at the age they are now, made me say I'm not done yet.
Right.
And so it's a positive thing for me.
So you get into the knife game.
Yes.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams it would lead to kind of where it is now for you, where you're at these shows, you're interacting? And I honestly, I'll tell you about me. So for me, it's I get to call my heroes my friends.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I love about being in the business and being around the business. Like people asked me when I left finance, I went to the police academy, everything else. They said, did you think for 1 second you would be here? I said I wouldn't trade it for anything. I said I had an opportunity. I've met the president because of the business I'm in. I'm like I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's just one of those things that I can sit at any dinner table and have a conversation, and short of being at the table with an astronaut, I got a pretty good story.
Right. There you go. I met President Trump. Well, Trump Jr., future President Trump Jr. I hope. Did I say that loud enough?
Oh,
Through you, you kind of hooked me up with the security guys and keep bringing Trump Jr. over and helping us out there. So I would never in a million years got to do anything like that.
it's amazing.
Shake his hand,
So you get to go to all these shows and you get to participate in all these industries. What has been some of the funnest times for you? What has been some of the times that you're like, you want to pinch yourself because you're like, I can't believe this?
Well,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No.
I mean, I just think all the people are amazing. We've met some great people, and we've had lasting relationships with them throughout the years in this short time that people we would have never met otherwise,
My
So-
pinch yourself moment, or when I get to meet those people standing beside this girl right here.
Oh,
We get to do it together. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is.
We do. We have fun.
Yeah.
And you both seem like you genuinely do have a blast doing it, and that's what I love about both of you, and that's why when you both were coming on, I was like, this is great, to have two people, because you genuinely show it too on your social media and everywhere else, and I was super excited to get you guys in the building, to get you guys to visit the facility, to see K-Var Arsenal, and get to spend some time with us, and they're known brands,
Right.
and just like you guys, to get you in not just as the couple that you are, like you're saying, but just the brand you represent and what you guys have done has been phenomenal and awesome just to watch from a distance.
We have fun
She's my
together.
favorite person to be around. So
Does it ever get tiring?
it does. It's okay. We've been married for 21 years this year. Actually, we celebrate our 21st anniversary coming up September 12th. And before I had this job, it was a 9-to-5. I worked for AT&T. I'd climb telephone poles and stuff like that for a living. So I was at home every day, home every weekend with her. This job has, in the past 3 years, we've had to separate sometimes when I have to travel.
Just
And-
holidays and stuff.
Yeah, and
Sometimes
it
gets a little
gets a little
Hectic.
a little hectic.
Yeah, a little crazy.
Because we do everything together. We're attached at the hip. So when we are apart, I think one time we had to be 9 days apart. That's a long.
Yeah,
in
that was when you
21
went to
years,
Germany.
we had never been apart
Yeah,
that long.
It was just kind of weird, not.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I want to ask you guys is what advice would you guys give couples getting into the business that are going to be in the business, traveling and going to shows and being a part of that lifestyle? What advice would you give young couples or people that are like, geez, you know how it is. I really want to get in the gun game, or I really want to get in the knife game. What would you say to them? Would you say do everything to try to include each other as much? What advice would you give?
100%. Because it's just like her and I talk. I'm gonna be straight up.
Because I know you see it. People lead the double life. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yes, and you've got to trust each other, but there's always a little insecurity in every one of us. Okay, you're always wondering, because there's always men at these shows. You know, if she was having to be at a show by herself,
I think they're boys.
They're right. But mostly it's letting the guys know at those shows, you better respect me because I will see you again. And if you ever touch my wife or talk to her, I'm just kidding. No. But no, it's trust. But you got to understand that you're not those people that are running around leading that double life. You know,
Well, we have fun together. We enjoy what we do. Like if I didn't enjoy,
but I'm talking about the advice you'd give other couples as far as them
Well,
having to separate going to shows and stuff like
right,
that. You know,
right.
It's hard. Even for us, as strong as we are. I mean, it's tough being away. You always, like I said, there's always that little bit of insecurity, but you got to be able to know who you're married to.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You got to know who you're married to. I think there's a message in that. I like that. I can get with that. I think it's really important, and again, I can't speak from insane amount of experience, but I know shows and I know people.
Right.
I think it's really important to have basic human interaction. And I
Yes.
think what people are losing today, whether it's via social media or other avenues, they're losing that basic human interaction. And I think what I love about shows, because I'm a people person.
Right.
Yeah.
I like getting out there and I put the phone away and you see me.
Yeah.
I walk around and I'll be with this one or that one. Turn your phone off, Q. That's rude. So
Hey, man, that's Jason's phone.
I hope that
Oh,
might
just hit
be
the side
mine.
button.
Just hit the
Cause-
Yeah,
side.
just hit the side button.
So,
Sorry.
I think it's really important to be out there, and it increases not only your ability to communicate with people and improve your communication with people, but that's something that's getting lost today. And I think kids are losing it.
I say that all the time.
We talk about this all the time at the house,
I
you
went
know.
to a restaurant the other day, and there was a young couple, and they came in there and they sat down. They did not speak a word the whole time. They were at their phones the entire time. They ate, got up. They did not say a word. And I'm thinking, God, one of these days, people aren't going to be able to
Speak.
communicate or interact with each other because they were
Texting each other sitting across the table.
Well, not even at that. It's just kind of, sometimes it's kind of sad. Like, that's one thing when we sit down and eat or something like that. I'm like, I tell the boys and stuff, I'm like, please put your phones away.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's-
let's enjoy each
That's
other.
another, doing what you and I do, especially with the Instagram and stuff like that, social media. When I first came on with Microtech, you know, they had a small following on Instagram and Facebook and all that. And I really didn't know what I was doing. So I wanted to pour everything that I was into building the social media for the company. So I would come home some days, well, all the time, after being at work for 8 hours and jump on the phone, still answering DMs. Because my thing is, I do not let a DM or a PM go unanswered from anybody. I always have some kind of positive feedback, either letting you know, thumbs up, whatever, that I saw your message or whatever. And we've got a good following. We've got about 225,000 followers on Instagram. So that gets tiresome sometimes. When
It's
you
impossible
got a
sometimes
lot
to
of
get
people
to
reaching out every
everybody.
day.
Eventually it reaches a point, and I gave this suggestion to one company, is you have to explain to people, hello, you've reached the media side of the company. You have to kind of,
Right.
we'd love to
It
love to
does.
service your customer service
Right.
request with customer service,
Right.
so stuff doesn't get lost in translation. And I've tried to explain that with many brands I've worked with in the past. I'm like, look, in the beginning it's fine, you could do it
Right.
all. And when you hit 200, 300, 400, 500,000, it becomes like your mouth on a fire hose.
Yes.
Right.
And you just can't do it. And you try to explain that to people, like, look, because what happens is they'll start messaging not just Facebook DMs, they'll start messaging IG, and there's no way to curate that customer service request. And that's an important thing people have to understand out there. It's like, look, I can only, I want to service them properly from
Right.
start to finish.
Right.
So you usually say, hey, if you head over to the website, there's a customer service request form. Please do me a favor, put as much detail in there as you can, and we're going to get to it as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're
You
like
know.
a traffic director, though.
Yeah.
Send them
Okay.
to return the warranty repair, department. Send them to whichever department they're trying to reach out. People reach out on social media more now than they do calling the company or emailing the company.
Hey Jason, you outkicked your coverage, man, Mary and Kayla, man. Let's show her beautiful face off, man. Push that mic down a little bit. Let's push that mic. It's covering up.
Is it this
Oh,
one?
is it
Mike?
this?
That's no. It's that one.
There we go.
There we
Good.
go.
We'll
Okay,
tilt it
I
up.
don't know.
There we go.
I agree.
There we go.
You're
All right, we're
sweet.
better. Sorry, guys.
You outkicked your coverage. You heard that one
There you
before,
go.
right?
That's right. Coverage. So, I'm really excited to have you talking about the line. We mentioned Microtech. How far has it come in your time there? Because now I see you guys just blowing up.
Okay. Well, is it okay if I talk about, how I got on with Microtech in the first place?
You can talk about whatever you want.
Okay, so Kaylin and I, like we were talking about, Jake got involved in the knife community. We started going to all these shows. Well, we ended up going to Blade Show in Atlanta one year, and that's the world's largest knife show. So I'd met Mr. Anthony Marfione at that show during that weekend. We were going around on Sunday telling everybody bye. Show was about to be over. Well, I go by and tell the Marfiones bye, who's the owner of Microtech. Well, he pulls me, shook his hand and said, Anthony, it's a pleasure to meet you this weekend. I just wanted to tell you bye. Well, he pulls me across the counter and says, look, I host a party, after Blade Show party at my house every year. He said, I'd really like it, if you would join us. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because Anthony Marfione's like the king of, in the knife community. He's an unbelievable guy. His name's, up there. Jake, my youngest son, by the time he was 13, he had already decided I want to be a custom knife maker. So I was sitting there thinking, okay, I've got Anthony Marfione, king of the business, inviting me to his house, me and my family to his house to a party. This is an opportunity right here. So sure enough, that weekend we'd go to his house. We didn't have any money hardly because we'd blown it.
Yeah.
We'd blown all of our money getting Jake to the show, and,
I was like,
and
we'll
spent
get
the
it
weekend
done.
there.
Let's just do it.
We were calling family members. Look, we've just blown our wad, at the show. Can you please help us out so we can get? This is such a great opportunity. So we ended up driving home, driving 5 hours back to Anthony's house, hung out with them all weekend. Well, while we were there, Anthony looks at Jake, my son, and says, "How about I show you everything I know about the knife community, about the knife making business?" And Jake started freaking out. I mean, now Anthony invited us to his home, and now he's offering my son an apprenticeship. So we went.
We were kind of like, why us? Like,
Yeah,
we
why
didn't,
us?
We didn't really,
Right.
It was like we're nobody. We're just people that go to the shows. We're friendly with everybody as we can. Anyhow, so we started driving 5 hours one way back and forth every time Mr. Marfione had an opportunity to work with Jake. And we did that for a couple of years. And one day we were sitting on the back porch. He would always put us up at his house. It was always great to us. He'd take us whitewater rafting when we come up there. He's just
we had
so
great
nice.
times.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Stuff that we never really.
We never would have
Yeah,
done
yeah.
anyway. But we're sitting on the back porch one day. He was grilling steaks. And he takes the spatula off and he's like, you know what? I'll pay you what you're making now to run my social media. And I looked around at him and started laughing. I was like, yeah,
You're like, no, you won't. Prove it.
No, I wasn't like that. I thought, man, this guy's, he doesn't have one too many bourbons with me or something. But sure enough, he kept on and kept on and kept on. And he shot me a text when we left one weekend. He said, I know it takes y'all 5 hours to get back and forth, every time you come up. He said, can you please come up next weekend? Me and my wife have a proposition for you. Microtech's a great place to work. North Carolina's a great place to live. So I retired from my job of 20 years with AT&T.
It took a lot for me to move.
It was a big decision. It was a big decision.
I was born and raised in Columbus, Georgia.
I was thinking
So-
two things. One, this is an opportunity for my son to get to where he wants to go in his life. And nothing's more valuable to me than our kids being successful. So I'll give up anything I got to
we
make sure
talked
they.
about it as a family.
Yeah.
We sat down with our boys
Yeah.
and talked about it. And
It's been beneficial to us as a family together, though. I mean, financially, we're a lot better off than what we were. But get to work, with the coolest knife company on the planet, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's the epitome of a one-handed operated knife. I mean, we're known for our automatics, our OTFs, and it's just it's a blessing. And I get to deal with people that I love anyway, which is, the knife community, the gun community, the fitness industry.
It's amazing, and coming off of that, we were chatting a little bit, and we've talked about this in the past. It's one of the biggest challenges in explaining to brands, and this is something I learned from not just Bruce at Quest, a lot of guys, and Hans and I have discussed it at Monster.
Yeah.
It's bridging the gap.
Yes.
Once you reach a point where you own your customer base, you have a good base, you've established a brand in the industry,
Right.
you start looking for ways to kind of grow the pie. And years ago, and you remember this probably 5 years, 6, 7 years ago. You know, like I tell people all the time, I knew Tony when Tony was Tony.
Right.
You know, before, you know, the Real World Tactical thing started
Right.
really
Right.
taking shape. It was, I think he had 20,000 followers at the time. And I went down to South Florida because somebody was like, go check this guy out. He's fucking crazy. So I was like, all right. You know, and his name was coming up a lot. And I had trained all over the place with a lot of folks. And I was representing at the time probably 4 brands. And I remember kind of being like, just like you said out in the hall, there's something here with this whole bridge between fitness
Right.
and everything else. And I had the proper background in powerlifting and fitness to say, okay, I can pull this all together, whether it's with influencers, whether it's with friends, just getting together and collaborating and doing things. And the biggest struggle you have all the time is not alienating your base, but explaining that you're just trying to grow the pie to not just ownership, but to everybody else. Because I remember in the beginning, I had people saying, what is this, bodybuilders with guns?
Yeah.
What's going on? Da-da. And I would just say to people, do you not want their money?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're in the business. What people forget sometimes is to sell things at the end of the day.
Right.
You want to put a quality product out there you can stand by, and you want to work for great people. And if you work for great people and you put a quality product out there, you just want to grow the pie and put more good things in people's hands.
Right.
Right.
So if you believe in the brands, you never have a problem putting something good in someone's hands and saying, hey, man, we make this, you know, blade, or we make this Quest bar, or we make this water, or
Right.
hey, you know, we make this AK. And you just want to get it in the hands of people and get them talking about it, because
Right.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Or a chicken sandwich, right,
Yeah.
Q?
Yeah. From where was it?
Damn
straight.
So you've done a fantastic job of doing that, and it's not easy because you get chastised. You know, people are like, well, what is this with this fitness? We're becoming too fitness, and it's like, well, what's the alternative?
Like this is not who I am 100%. Okay?
No,
I'm not
never.
you.
We do
Guns
other
are not
stuff.
where you are, who you are.
I don't shoot
100%.
enough anymore.
I know. I love guns. I love knives. I love fitness. Show me an SF guy that doesn't
Doesn't love all those
fitness.
things.
Yeah.
And
know?
you're absolutely right. And I barely post about me doing jujitsu. I barely post about me doing a lot of things that people don't see, because I
Right.
tell people all the time, what you see on social media is what I want you to see.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't put out there, and listen, I'll be the first to say this with all due respect to everybody. Social media is not real. Okay?
Right.
Anyone who says it's real, it's not real.
No.
What
Right.
social media is the highlight of your day.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
What
right.
people don't see is you making the lunch, you doing the
Right.
5-hour ride. They don't see a lot of the grind,
Yeah.
because that's not the glamorous side. And
Yeah.
you're trying to show people the fruit at the end of the labor.
Right.
You know, I mean, I get the whole show. You know, you could be like a Mike Coonahan, and it's 4 a.m. and I'm up in the morning. You know, and I love you, Mike.
Mike,
but
I do not eat donuts.
yeah, like,
Don't
you
listen
know,
to him.
so there's people that put the grind in
lying.
there, but, you know, I think everybody grinds. I think for the most part, you wouldn't be where you are if you didn't grind.
Yep.
I like showing the fruit. I like saying, geez, I worked real hard. Here's the fruit. I'm going to show you the best part of my day.
Right.
And bridging that gap and bringing it all together and doing what you're doing, man, I'm super excited for you guys and super excited for what you're doing. And I think it deserves 100% support. I think
absolutely.
it's a great way to go and to continue to push in new areas. I tell people all the time, I want to put a gun in everybody's hands.
Yeah.
And that's something, you know, I can't take credit for that saying. That's something Taryn said. You know, he said, I just want to put, I had Taryn on a podcast years ago. He said, I just want to put guns in people's hands and get them to shoot and let them realize that, you know, it's not going to just go bang on its own. Right.
Right,
You know, it's not
right.
just going to go off.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing. I mean, you just want to, what Quest wants is they want everybody eating a Quest bar.
Right.
What you want is everybody owning a Microtech.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's
What's
right.
so funny is people don't realize the work that goes into these knives and stuff. And I'm one of them. When we first got into the knife community, until I saw behind the scenes and stuff what all goes into it.
Well, tell
the
us what goes
work.
into it.
I mean,
Well, like one of our biggest things, and okay, one of my biggest decisions for going with Microtech, you know, also for, you know, after Tony invited me, it's an American-made company. Okay, everything we do, everything that goes into these knives is American-made, by hand. I mean, we do everything. These are hand-assembled knives. Every one of them are special fitted.
springs.
You know, it's nuts how going down there and seeing people with screwdrivers. A lot of people think that, hey, you just put a bunch of metal in a machine, it goes
That's
in there,
not the way it
robots in
works.
there, and it spits out a full knife on the end. It's
Yeah.
not. We do all our mill work. We make our own screws in house. You know, it's
And even my son, he had a knife he just made, and I was trying to take a cool picture of it, and I dropped it and dinged it, and I felt horrible. And that was like 4 hours of work he had to do to fix.
To get it back. To
yeah,
fix it right,
and you know, people don't realize that, like what it takes, you know. And like I felt horrible, but just
Listen,
you know.
in life, he's going to have a lot of times where
Yeah.
he's
That's
right. Trust me.
That's right. That's right.
It's a small lesson. So what, from start to finish, because this is something that intrigues a lot of people, and I talk about this with people all the time, how much R&D and development goes into one, how many hours, how much time, because we get calls all the time. I
Right.
want to T&E it.
Right.
I want to try one.
Yeah,
and you
of
want to
course.
be like, listen, motherfucker,
That's right.
do you know how many people test this before it even goes out into
Exactly,
public?
exactly.
No disrespect to anybody out there with the T&E thing and all that.
Right.
But most companies, they really don't need you to T&E it.
No,
I'll be
no.
straight with you.
And you know, like a lot of our knives, you know, I'm also the manager of the MilGov program, the service personnel program at work. The military's issued, and you know, police officers and stuff like that, they're issued certain knives when they're deployed. They reach out to us for a reason to buy our products individually. So they're really the ones that do our serious T&E stuff. But you know, when we get new products that we're going to do, you know, what Mr. Marfione will do is he'll actually make a few prototypes. He'll give it to some of us that he knows will rough them up, and we'll see how tough they really are. You know, because I mean, I use a knife.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
tore a couple things up around our house.
and I-
stabbing.
and I-
Sorry
yeah.
about poking a hole in the metal garbage can.
And I remember my first one, I beat the crap
Yeah,
out of that
yeah.
thing. You know?
Yeah.
I'm graduating slowly, you guys, to
I
the
mean,
beefier ones.
They're cool and all, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, that's the neatest thing." But I mean, we build them to use them. I mean, seriously,
I use
it's
mine
not just
all
to
the
play
time.
with. It's not a cool guy toy. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've slowly graduated through some of the smaller ones. Eventually, I'll get to the bigger size ones.
Right.
But I love what you guys are doing, and I think it's the hottest brand. I got to ask you this because it is, you know, everybody's been talking about these knives. What was the breakthrough moment that you were like, okay, we have something? Like, what was the moment? And don't give me the John Wick thing, but like, what was the moment when you were like? Because I know those moments when they happen in a company, and I'm like, okay, we have something here.
I'll say this as discreetly as possible. When when the people in the military that reach out to us are on the level that they're at, certain groups of individuals, and they're the ones that want our product, special groups of individuals, that tells me we got something going. When they're
seeking.
yeah, those special guys that I'm talking about are, you know, an elite group.
Right.
And they're the ones that want to carry our product.
No, absolutely.
You know.
I'm sitting cute.
See, you stood up the whole time,
You
Q, because
motherfucker.
he
I
wanted me.
told him,
He
Jay.
wanted me
I
to look
needed
like.
to- listen,
he wanted
Jay,
to look
did
like a
not tell him.
giant and
Jason.
make me look.
I
this big.
had to sit for a minute because I had to take it
I
off.
told him. I said, "You gonna fucking stand?"
I stood for a little because my ass will be like shoe leather.
Nah, I understand, Q. I'm just kidding.
So here's the thing. That's definitely a pinch me moment that nobody ever sees
Right.
when you feel like, okay, I have something, like something's really happening here.
Right.
And I've had that happen in the rifle business. I've had that happen to me with Breakthrough. I've had it happen with Enforce. I've had it happen, you know, when I was at Paul Marady, you know, all the different brands I've worked with through the years.
Right.
And advised them. I've seen products and I'm like, this is going to be something. I just know it. So that's super exciting, and that's one of the most exciting moments people never see.
Yeah.
So you talked about the knives. You talked about everything, you know, that you're working on over there. But you have something really exciting coming out that I've had my eye on. It might be a wallet,
It is a money clip.
and this thing's crazy. Q, I don't know if you could pull it up on the website. Show the website. Is it on the website?
The Exit set.
Yeah. Pull up the website, Q. This thing is when Q sees it, he's gonna shit. Go.
Where is it on the website?
Go to
Go down
Scroll down.
to our knives.
Oh, nice.
Where we at? Where we at?
Go menu.
Boom.
There you go. Go to
OTF.
OTF. When you guys see this is really something. Check. Now, go down.
All right.
Keep going. You'll know when you. There it is.
Bang.
Click on
Right
that.
there.
Now look at this thing. Now, what made you guys get into this, and what was the idea behind this?
Okay. Basically, we're looking at doing some kind of a tactical money clip, okay? So this is actually a California legal, blades
Oh,
under
my
2
God.
inches, money clip. I mean, on the backside, you can hold all kinds of cards in it, cash, whatever, but it's like protecting your assets with a California legal double-edged blade.
Now, can I, if somebody tries to rob me,
Yes.
can I stab them in the throat with it?
Am I allowed to say
No,
that politically
don't
correct?
answer. But that is badass.
Yeah.
I know Q already bought 2 of them in his mind.
Nah, in his mind.
In his mind. That is badass.
It was a great look.
Whose idea was this?
Oh, Mr. Marfione's.
God, Anthony.
He pretty much comes up with every new product that we bring in house. So
That is super cool. It's, when you what can I don't want to give up too much of the secret formula. Hit the side button. I don't want to give too much of the
good
secret.
I'm
gracious,
so
somebody
sorry.
loves me.
Yeah.
Oh, Kaylin's
I think
blowing
that's
up.
me.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
I feel loved.
I don't want to met too many guys down there in Vegas more than the number she uses to
whatever.
hand them out last night.
I help you kick their
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
I
I got a
back.
crew. Hans is going to come in here later on too. So, no.
So I don't want to give away too much of the secret formula. What else could you guys be working on?
Oh Jesus Lord.
Can you give any type of a hint?
Well, we actually do suppressors, and some of those special individuals right now. There'll be some news coming out soon.
Okay.
They've already had it testing for about a year.
You heard it here. It's an exclusive.
Well, we did actually post about it and everything when we started doing the project. Then everybody kind of was like, "Where do they go? Why aren't you manufacturing those? Why aren't you putting them out? Blah 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 blah." It's like we overpromised, underdelivered, but that's not the case. There's things going on behind the scenes that people don't know about.
Always.
So,
Let me ask you a better question. Who do you guys identify as a competitor to? That's a tough one.
Benchmade.
Benchmade?
Benchmade. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see you guys almost as in your own world in some ways.
We are okay. Folder lineups. We got some tough folders. I mean, like our SOCOM Elites. I mean, they're some of the toughest folders around. But
Yeah.
it's a bad knife. But as far as who we are, who we identify as, we're an OTF company, and we make just because of our tolerances, our premium materials that we use, we are the best OTF knife company on the planet, and I'll say that with every bit of confidence in my mind.
Now, getting into folders and eventually maybe potentially fixed blades or heavy into fixed blades, does it scare you at all? Because now it opens you up to a whole nother world of competitors?
Not at
or
all.
Not at all.
I mean,
Because there's some good ones out there.
oh, there's some really
There's
good
some
ones
great
out there.
ones. I
There's
mean, you
some
got
really good ones.
Emerson's, you got Ernie's stuff.
You got tops.
Yep,
with
you got
the
tops.
fixed blades.
And again, I put them in different categories. Like
They are.
tops is a great production blade,
Right.
And I try to explain to people when they ask me like, what knife should I buy? I'm not going to say all the time a Microtech out the gate. I'm like, well,
Right,
what's your
right.
budget?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
what's your budget? What can you afford?
Right.
Yeah, Tops makes a great fixed blade in that $200 price point, and that's like where a lot of people are willing to buy a good hunting.
right.
Outdoors blade. It's not. It's different. It's a different animal, and
Right.
it's the same with guns. When people say, "I want to buy an AR," well, what's your budget? And what are you using it
Yeah.
for?
And it's like a starter drug sometimes. Once they buy that $200 knife, next time they want to kick it up to that
Yeah.
$300 knife.
And there's,
on and on.
you're getting
See,
into
our knives-
Winklers,
that's
you're
right.
getting into so many. What would when somebody comes up to you and they say, "I want to buy a knife"? What's the first thing you say? Besides buy a Microtech.
How are you going to be using it? Because that's going to tell me right now what kind of size you need. Whether if you're going to be using it to open boxes, you don't need a double edge because sometimes a lot of people don't think about it or
They want to put their
cutting
thumb
things. They
on
want to
there.
put the thumb on the back of the blade, and if you got a double edge, that's going to be
Right.
very bad because we don't play around when we sharpen. But
I use mine for different, like my Ultratech, I wear in my boot. My 85, I usually put in my pocket.
she's always toting.
Yeah, and
Always
I
carrying.
mean, I use different ones. Like the 70, I'll carry on my yoga pants because it's small,
Mm-hmm.
and if I need it, it's not gonna fall or hang off my. I mean, being a girl, not a lot of guys wear yoga pants, but
Do you
I'm sure
think?
that helps out.
Do you both
Hey,
think
this is
like?
Vegas. You
John
don't
and
know-
I,
you don't
John
know
and
the
I wear
guys.
yoga pants in private
You
together
don't know the
all
guys
the
in
time.
Vegas. Yeah.
Listen,
Don't
I
judge.
tell everybody all the time. What do I say all the time, Q? If you want to be low vis, you better start shopping at Lululemon.
Well, that's right.
That's where I shop. I'm in for comfort. So, what do you tell people when they say, you know, what would you advise them on the line if they say, geez, I want to get like a good EDC? Just take me through like a basic.
Ultratech is our hottest model, has been for years. What's cool about this knife that a lot of people don't realize, it slips in between mole webbing very easily. So if you want to carry it on your kit, you don't want to carry it in your pocket, you know, that's a knife to go with right there. But like I said, it's slim, sleek, fits in your hand really well. Like I said, it's the most popular thing we do.
And then if they want to kick it up a notch?
Combat Chodon. This is a baby boy I carry all the time.
That's what I got to graduate. I'm not on your level. I got to get to that level.
There's my personal one, so
yeah,
that's my favorite.
I still hit sometimes.
And how far have you guys pushed them? How durable are they?
Oh my God! Like we've got some destruction videos on our website and stuff that we do. I've punched them through. Basically, once this thing is locked out, I'll show you a little trick. Okay, say if I'm deploying it, get something here.
I was going to say, don't use your arm.
If I'm deploying it and it hits something on the way out, basically it's got a safety mechanism built in. It's stuck in between the two locks.
Right.
Okay? That's not a big deal. Quick pull, it's back in action. Once it's locked out, though, it's basically a fixed blade. I've driven this thing about that deep in a cross tie before, pulled it back out
Hammering it.
with a hammer.
Yeah.
Pulled it back out, fires fine. Drove it into asphalt. It fires fine. I mean, it's locked out. It's
In
a
the
fixed
trash
blade once it's out.
can.
Yeah, in the trash can. You will never let me live that down. Yes, I poked several holes in your trash can.
Oh yeah, I gotta know because if Q gets one, he's gonna be pounding it into walls and
Yeah.
God knows
Oh,
what
it'll
else.
do it.
And the
I'm
glass breaker.
ordering that shit right now. What are you talking about?
So you obviously, you know, you have this incredible line. You guys have done a phenomenal job promoting it and getting it out there. Then the John Wick moment happens. And I got to talk about it because people will ask, how is that, you know, when you go to the movies and you see, because we had one of our, I'll tell you a story, we had one of our firearms. We were actually the firearm in John Wick 2 that killed the dog.
There you go.
So
That's not
Oh.
good.
that's
I wouldn't have.
but
He said that's not good.
Yeah, that's
not
not
good.
good.
You
So-
know, we've been in movies for a while. Bullet to the Head with Sylvester Stallone.
Yep, I
You know, that's
remember-
where
actually,
the
I
Halo's
remember that.
been. Yeah, I mean, he carried a halo that whole movie. But the John Wick thing, I mean, that definitely kicked it up a notch for us. You know, and got our name out there a little bit. A lot of people kept saying, "No, that's not Microtech. That's somebody else. That's another OTF company." No, it was us. All three movies, it was us.
it's got to be surreal.
It is.
Yeah.
Will Smith's new movie. God, I'm having
Gemini Man.
Gemini
Yeah.
Man. He's got one. He's got a cipher in it. So
Oh,
I
man,
mean,
I got my notes.
I don't know. Look at you go.
It's exciting, like waiting to see it. You're just waiting for that moment.
That
It's-
one little
yeah,
second, you know,
yeah.
that you might see your product in that movie. But, you know, it's cool as crap, man. Getting to deal with those guys.
No, that's super exciting. I mean, that's badass
Yeah.
stuff. And anytime you get that, it is kind of like a pinch you moment.
Shoot, yeah.
For sure. And, you know, for a marketing guy, that's a big moment, too, because you're like, all right, it's not like a we made it moment, but it's like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is. It's not about, like, at that point, you know, I try to tell people, you're not thinking about, like, oh, I'm going to get a ton of sales out of this. You're
Right.
just thinking this is, like, a cool moment. It's kind of like I explain to people when you know, you give Donnie Jr. something or a gift,
Right.
or you see some of the guys, you know, and you know some of the people I'm talking about behind the scenes.
Right.
You're not doing it because of the sale involved.
No.
It's more of like, I want you to carry
Yes.
something
Yes.
I love.
It's like we only give those little gifts and
The
things
little
to,
ones, yeah.
to people who we really want to represent our product. It's not like, hey, you know, this is just a freebie for you doing something for me. You know, it's like I've known you for a while. I want my friends carrying. our
Of
knives
course.
because I want you represent. You're the kind of guy I want representing my company.
I'm the same
our
way.
company.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's one of the things that separates you from other businesses. And I try to explain that, and I know you do too, to businesses when they ask advice or you do some consulting. And I try to explain, well, what's your program? You know, what's your giveaway program? How do you do things?
Right.
And I always tell people, don't be a scattergun.
No.
I hate companies when they become a scattergun and everybody becomes a part of the brand,
Yeah.
because it becomes watered down and it loses something.
Right.
When it's special and it's one of those things where it's like, no, this is a friend of the family.
Right.
Regardless of what you think of them or this one someone thinks so that, and you know how chatty our business is. I mean, fuck,
Absolutely.
I say it all the time, fuck people.
Yep.
Because everybody has something negative to say, and it's usually the people that aren't, getting anything on the other end.
That's right.
And I'm like, look, there's people that help a brand and help grow a brand, like Bruce and Hans and those guys that have been involved in behind the scenes. And I look at those guys a lot like I look at you. Those are influencers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are the guys that lead you to the other pile of guys.
Absolutely.
And you want those guys in your family more than you want other people.
Right.
Because they're not mercenaries. They're working with brands for an extended period of time. That phone's spitting fire.
I'm so sorry. I feel bad. I should have
I'm
done
gonna bring it into you. It might be
Yeah.
something important.
It might be. If you want, bring it in, Q.
Oh.
We'll take it on air. We'll take it on air.
Yeah,
No.
Hey, baby. Yeah, it's in the upper left-hand
It's in the oven.
drawer.
It's in the
Yeah,
oven.
It's in the oven.
So.
Well,
it's
our
in the oven.
oldest son is at home, so he's been calling, where's this? Where's that? Where's you going?
No, just like
you.
just
Sorry.
like you though, with Hans and all those guys, what you're talking about those influencers. What's cool about all of it to me is I knew you on social media. You and I talked long before we ever met each other, but I felt already that you and I were going to have a relationship. I mean, we're two peas in a pod, if you ask me. I mean, we like the same stuff. Hans and I, we've been chatting up, and it was such a coincidence, that you tell me that he's going to be,
Sure.
on one of your podcasts, and we've been chatting it up for the past couple of weeks, and I can't wait to actually meet him. But just getting to meet those people for the first time too, those influencers, people trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think what people don't realize, and I say this all the time, there's people that are inwardly facing in the business, and there's people that are outwardly facing. And now, because of social media, everybody has somewhat of an outwardly facing presence. And some people, get bigger than others, and and that's how it goes.
Right.
I always say 500 likes equals $0, guys.
Yes.
It's not. It's just some people just get more known. I mean, everybody knows you guys, and everybody knows you in your community.
Right.
And that's a testament to you doing the groundwork and laying, that down. I think what people have to realize is there's people inwardly facing that have a lot of influence for a very good reason in their respective business and in their circle. I came up similar to you in many ways. I was doing a lot behind the scenes that nobody saw, that I didn't talk about.
Right.
I remember in the beginning, people thought I wanted to be an instructor. People thought I wanted to do this. And Tony would laugh.
Right.
He would just laugh when I would talk to him because he would be like, no, you don't understand. John has no desire to do that. He has zero desire. And I came up just going around. People would give me a bunch of product and they would say, go see this guy training. Because social media was new when I came up. It was a new thing.
Right.
And no one knew how to take it. And I remember I'd have like a box of Enforced Lights, a box of Breakthrough. And I would just kind of like go to events and go to shows, and I would just be putting the product in people's hands.
Right.
And that's kind of how Bruce was with Quest, and that's how Hans, it's just getting the product in people's hands, in the right people's hands, and getting them talking about it. And that's not an easy thing for people to understand on the outside because they think you're trying to be like a sponsored knife guy or a sponsored shooter, or you're trying to be something you're not. And I'm like, no.
It's exposure.
It's exposure. We're just trying to build a brand.
Right.
And I think there's a misconception out there, and this is one of the drawbacks of social media, is people hate. And I ask my friends all the time, it's like, do you actually know what they do there? And they're like, no. You get silence.
Right.
And do you know the role that they play within the company? And you get like, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. Like, it's like
Right.
Jay said it the best. Remember, Jay goes, people call me with their problems, or people call me to bitch about people, and I just hang the phone up.
Yeah.
He goes, that's what he said. He goes, I just hang the phone up.
Yeah, that negativity.
That negativity, and
Yeah.
it's just, you just have to explain to people, like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
This is my experience with said person. This is my experience with that. And it's a very good one. And I think I understand who they are and what they're about.
Right.
Thank you. But
I mean, it's like when John's walking around bitching about black people. Man. I don't listen to him. You know what I mean?
You just whispering in my headphones about you a while ago. I
That's
just didn't want to say anything because I really like you.
that's
I really do.
that's partly accurate. But I think there's something to be said about being straight. And I always tell people, be straightforward, as straightforward as you can. Like, when I see something I like, I tell you straight out, I'm like, I like that, I want it.
Yep.
I think too many people beat around the bush, like, hey, I'll do a YouTube video.
Needy.
Yeah, they get
Yeah.
needy. And
It's more aggravating than it is anything.
yeah, and I tell people all the time, when you sponsor someone, one of the downsides, or you get behind someone, is you kind of adopt them,
Yeah.
and they become like a kid.
Yes.
And
Always wanting something else. Always
always
needing
something else, always something, something new. So it's tough.
Jason, can you adopt me? I need a Microtech now.
I'll adopt you just because
I
you're
need
so
it.
good looking.
I need it.
You could pass as my son all day, every day.
So now being on the marketing side, coming from AT&T, does it excite you when you see things like right now with like the Popeye stuff going viral? Because I get excited when I see all that stuff. Do you get like have you become like a student of that game?
Not yet.
No. Well, most marketing guys, when they get into it and they start to learn the process of marketing and branding and social media, they start out as either a love for photography, which is one, you can have that, or they, like me, I don't even know how to work a camera. I tell people that all the time, and I ran social media. My thing is more, I love looking at marketing, sales funnels, how people interact, how to develop brands. Right. I'm a little bit like Hans or even Bruce in that sense. Have you started to study the game a little bit? Do you love the photography? Do you love the art of it?
Okay, when I first came on with Microtech 3 years ago,
You're like,
it was me. That's it. In the marketing department, really. We had one lady that worked there that actually did the website and things like that, but I had no clue about photography. I just had.
I took more pictures than you did.
Yes,
and
yes.
he always hated pictures.
So I had to learn that game. I do all the photography for our social media now. I do all the photography for the website, like lifestyle photos and things like that.
Have you become like a camera geek?
Not really a camera geek. I still enjoy
I am. I'm a total gadget geek.
We've got some expensive as all get out cameras at our shop that we've ordered, but I still love my iPhone.
The iPhone does a killer job.
For
Blasphemy,
for
James.
product
That's blasphemy.
Product photography, it does it right. But now things have gotten so big. Like I said, I came on a social media manager. Then I got pushed into the service personnel program manager. And things just kept growing and growing and growing. I couldn't do it all myself anymore. So we got it up to a point where it was getting so big, I had to hire an assistant for the service personnel program. He's taking care of all that for me now. I've got a guy that does the website for me, and also got a media assistant. So there's 4 of us total that kind of do the marketing now, and it's taken a lot of stress off of me. I mean, it's helped us out a lot because I'm not going home at night.
Staying on your phone all night.
Staying on my phone, making sure I keep up with
Yeah,
our
I mean,
customers.
eventually you always grow within a company and you grow within a brand. Like I don't do much social media anymore. I do very little. I dabble in it. Most of my time is spent understanding new platforms, YouTube, kind of understanding all these different things. I'm not as I'm not a big IG fan.
Right.
I'll come out and say it. It's known. Q's heard me rant on it. Ownership here has heard me rant on it. I think it's a dying medium. And I'll tell you why. Number one, because Facebook owns it.
Right.
Number two, because you're betting on how much someone is willing to swipe down. And I'm not willing to make that bet.
Yeah.
I'd much rather work with something like YouTube where it's the second most used search bar.
Right.
And I want people searching, like when you search knife, you want Microtech to be the first thing to pop up. So I fixate on things like that, and I fixate on creating a brand that transcends, like Kleenex is to tissue.
Right.
Coca-Cola is to ordering a Coke. Hey, I'll have a Coke. I stay on that, and that's kind of how my brain likes to work in marketing and how I approach
That's
things.
actually something that we've talked about at the shop. A lot of people don't realize how much time is involved in creating content for things like YouTube. Good content that people actually that keep people engaged. And when you got all the stuff like the social media things going on, you've got a ton of stuff throughout your day. It's like, where do I fit that time to create that content? It's almost like you got to put it priority. And that's something that we want to venture out into is the YouTube channel, making it bigger.
Most of the time, it's the fun stuff that people like to watch.
People think, oh, they're just having a good time on YouTube doing stuff. Like, you don't realize what it did, what it took to make that video.
Right.
To me, YouTube is king.
Yeah.
And the reason being is cable TV's dying.
Right.
So everything's going to streaming. So if you haven't built out a channel, that gives you the best way to get eyeballs on your brand.
Right.
And Instagram will always be there, just like Facebook is there.
Right.
But I think a death sentence to Instagram is its inability to really adapt to video the
Right.
way that YouTube can, unless
Correct.
they change the
Right.
platform or
Yeah.
they do something different.
And stop throttling
Oh, our industry.
our kind of
of
our
course.
industry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Anything
That drives me insane.
2A or defense related kind of gets throttled
Yeah.
back.
Yes.
And Jay said it best. Jay said, he goes, I have 3 million followers. He said, maybe 30,000 people see a post of mine. What
Right.
good is that?
Yeah.
He's like, so if you go and you look at Jay's arc on YouTube, the last year, him and Dave, who does his media, have spent an inordinate amount of time building that platform because he just sees where it's going. And
Right.
he's one of the smartest marketers of himself that I've ever been around in my life. And he's really good at it. Anybody will tell you that. And I just think that avenue of, I want to be on everybody's TV, not necessarily everybody's phone or everybody
Right.
in an app somewhere, because I think every TV comes equipped with streaming capability.
Right.
And you got Captain Moneybags lurking out there at Amazon.
Is that you?
No.
Oh shit.
At Amazon, no, definitely not. The bill collectors are calling. you. So you got Bezos lurking out there at Amazon with his own streaming. You got
Right.
Netflix. You got YouTube. I mean, we're all fighting for eyeballs.
Yep.
So it's a tough battle, and you
Yes.
got to explain to brands, hey, look, this is something we need to make a concentrated effort. I tell people all the time they need to build a studio in their facility. They
Right.
need to have a studio space, and they need to start recording.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's podcasting, tabletops, reviews, anything that you can put out there that speaks to the brand, and you have to hire people in your marketing department that can get in front of the camera and do the work,
Right.
and actually get out there and speak the brand.
And that's what you were just talking about right there, hiring people in the marketing department that can actually do the work. Those little day-to-day mundane tasks, they can't go undone. So you got to have somebody to actually do those, take care of the people on the Instagram, on the Facebook, while you're over here creating content for your YouTube, because there's only so many hours in the day, so it's tough.
Because email's dying too. Email marketing
Yes.
it's not what it was.
No.
I remember 3-4 years ago, I could be like, hey man, I got 30,000 emails. What do you want to do? And that was a thing.
Yep.
And now the open rates are so bad because I don't even look at email.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't either.
It's
I'm
like
bad
mail
about
in the
that.
mailbox. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even look at it. It's one of those things. It's just in our lifetime we're going to see a lot of that. Email will be a business to business thing. It'll
Yeah.
still exist as like a virtual handshake, but I see that kind of going by the boards because everybody will just send each other a text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Unless
lot
I'm
easier.
tracking something I ordered, I don't look at my emails.
That's what
I
I told her when they first gave me the service personnel program at work. I'd go home and I'd be, oh my God, every day I go in there and there's over 100 emails. And the next day, no matter how many I get answered, there's
Well, the bad
100 and
thing about
something
it
more.
is
I'm like, Jesus.
when you answer it, there's a
It starts
response.
a conversation.
So
And
you
you're
got to
like-
go back and then go back and go back, and it's never,
It's never enough.
Same
like
thing
one
like
and
DMs
done.
and PMs though on social media.
It
It just starts a conversation.
Let me ask you guys this. Has it been wild seeing your own personal social medias grow?
Yes. I'm more interested in seeing the companies grow than my own. I mean, that's honest to God. I really don't. I'm not a self promoter. I don't want to be a self promoter with Microtech. So I keep.
Yeah, but it holds you accountable too. Your
I know.
personal brand means something within the
It
brand.
does. It does. It does. I'm just more focused because that's where I get my money.
Of course.
I'm
listen.
more. But yeah, I want people to know. I want people to know who they're talking to when they're talking to me on the Microtech page. So everything that you see on our personal, that's who we are. That's what
my
we do.
personal page, I'm really blunt. I don't really hide anything. I put the good and the bad on there. So some stuff is just like,
You
you
just
know.
put it all. You let it.
Yeah,
hang
just
out.
let it
She
all.
lets it all
Yeah,
hang
it's just
out.
sometimes, I mean, like there's certain things, that I don't.
But even the
but-
lowlights are highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
But-
lowlights
I mean,
become highlights.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, I always say it, like even this podcast, I'm not a rah-rah guy.
Yeah.
I'm not like Andy or some of these guys, and they're like, you gotta get out there and you gotta kill the day. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not like Jocko. I'm too tired
Yeah.
to be doing that shit. Like, I'm too old and too tired.
Yeah.
I can't be like screaming into the microphone. I just like to show people that there's good folks out
Yeah.
there in our business, and not everybody is trying to mow down a school.
Right. And that right there, be genuine on
Yeah.
your social media
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that, because someday you're going to end up meeting John Bartolo.
And if
John
you-
Bartolo is going to meet Jason. If you're not that same guy,
And
I
if
thought
you
were
know,
gonna be,
yeah,
you know,
you're
I'm-
absolutely
Oh,
right.
that's
If you
something.
know my level of sarcasm and you follow my page, then
Right.
you know what you're
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
He's not serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? I don't take myself that seriously.
Right.
And that's something people have learned by meeting me.
Yeah.
Because what they see on the internet, they're like, oh, this dude, you know, I've heard it all. He thinks he's somebody. And I'm like, no, I just kind of put out there my day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know,
And
and
that's-
that's kind of how I am.
You're talking about mine and Caitlin's relationship, and you know, people see what we put on there on social media all
Some
the time.
people might think we're too mushy and stuff, but
yeah,
we
and
do.
ask us, DMing us, asking for advice, you know, as far as like couples go and things like that. It's like we look at each other and
It
do they
just
not
comes-
know we're normal?
Like,
I mean, we
I
get in
don't-
arguments too. We have bills to pay. We get
I mean,
stressed out. And it's like,
but
golly, dang.
what really struck me as weird is one night we were sitting there and we were watching a movie, and a lot of times we'll hold hands when we're watching a movie, and his sister was over there and she's like, God, after like 20 years, y'all still hold hands, you know? Like, that's like that.
You seen this girl? Yeah, I'm
like,
gonna hold
I
her
mean,
hand.
Like, I mean, she just thought that was weird, and we just think it's
normal.
natural, it's normal, like, and we don't, you know, I guess everybody's different, but
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah,
no, I mean, like,
we decided we're gonna start a counseling.
I don't put
counseling
stuff on-
business on the
You
side
should
too
see
for-
John.
I don't put stuff on there like
Yeah.
be mushy or
John's about to
anything.
cry.
I
John's
can't.
Jason, I'll hold your hand.
I can't.
John's over here rethinking his life.
I am. I just soul searched. Man. I killed myself 5 times in my head just then. You know, I say it all the time, Q, right? I'd kill myself, but I'm scared I'd live. I'd survive, and Q would take care of me.
Yeah.
I'd be crippled. My ass would be crippled. Jump out the first floor window. So
First floor window.
seriously, but it's amazing. It really is, and I think that's what everybody hopes for, you know. And I think that's why everybody enters into that type of relationship, whether it's marriage or, you know, everybody got something different.
What's-
You know, whether they got. Please, you know,
know.
it's like
Go ahead and talk about it, John. Let's go.
everybody. You know,
What's
not everyone's gets married now. It's what is it, domestic partnerships
Yeah,
and this,
yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
the other thing. So, I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to share some of your story. I got to ask you though, a couple of things. How do you deal with the haters or the people that come on or have something to say? Because I know you put a lot out there and you get your family out there. Do you just do what Jay does and hang the phone up or ignore? I mean, how do you? Because in the beginning, you always start out battling with them, right?
Yeah.
Oh
the
my
first-
God! When we first got on social media, it's like I'm gonna find this
I'm
guy.
gonna
and
get him.
I'm gonna choke him. I'm
Yeah.
gonna choke. And then you realize I can't find him. That's
Yeah.
just, I'm destroying myself and my health.
He would get
by
so
even-
upset. Like, I would see like red just coming over.
All
and I'm
over.
like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Now,
it's
it's
a
just
dude sitting behind a
delete
computer,
comment,
just
block,
you know.
delete, block. It's
I'm telling you,
I don't put up with negativity. I
The
don't put up
first
with-
thing that bothered me, like when people would say something about my kids, being a mom, I'm just really,
Mama Bear.
yeah, that you just don't do that. Like that that's my biggest
I love-
thing. Now I've got just to.
I love what Rosie O'Donnell said on Joe. She said, you got to become a pacifist.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
kind of just become like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
You win. I lose.
Yeah.
Cool. Because you
Some
get.
people say crude
Especially
things.
when you're representing a company, so you
Well,
want,
there's that.
your personal side wants to come out and dominate, but you know you can't really be nasty to customers.
I just made up my mind, you know, a long time ago. You know, this is my 3rd podcast, so I made up my mind coming into this one that I was just gonna just sling it. I could just, you know, I'm gonna say what I want to say, and if it costs me a job or I'm gonna go out doing it the way I want to
So
do
what I
it.
said a while
Yeah.
ago, be genuine.
You know,
Be
and
genuine.
I'm the same way when I turn this microphone on as I am in that hallway and as I am in meetings, and no one will accuse me of being different.
That's right.
In fact, I'm probably.
I'm glad you finally put clothes on though, because when you're in the hallway, that getting
I
naked
was,
stuff is.
I was doing the no pants thing for a while.
Every morning with this fucking guy, Jason. Every morning. Naked.
You know he's not wearing pants now,
Naked.
right? He's just wearing
None.
a t-shirt. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah, I got my hater shirt on.
My t-shirt.
You know, this is for the New England Patriots. So football season's upon us. So I wear my hater shirt.
No comment.
I thought this was coffee.
New
at
England's
first.
left clean.
Yeah.
No, this is Blackwater.
Yeah, I've never. This
Hey,
is
we're
awesome.
doing a collaboration with Blackwater.
Yeah, this is awesome. At first,
Different
I thought
Blackwater,
I was like,
though.
wow. really good.
It's good. So you guys have said it all, and I've been so blessed not just to call you guys friends and in the brand and support everything that you guys do. You guys know I'm always a text message away or a quick call away if I can ever
thank
do
you for
anything.
that.
Of course.
Yeah.
That goes without saying, and I love having you guys in the building, and I'm going to be excited to introduce you guys to some of the managers here at K-Var and Arsenal, and I just love working with good folks, and you guys are genuinely good folks, and I'm excited to have you guys in the building and spend some time with the team and just say hi.
Well, it's been a pleasure building a relationship with you over the past few years. I really do appreciate you. I really do.
And thank you for making us feel comfortable because I'm not. He usually does the talking and stuff, except like it shows and stuff. But as soon as they turn a video camera on or something, I'm just like,
We were just wondering.
I look
I think
lost in
Q,
headlights.
our biggest fear was, is the New York guy going to be able to understand the Georgia people?
He knows full well I'm not from New York.
I was ready to translate.
Everybody
Jersey.
pulls the
Ready to
New York,
translate.
New Jersey shit.
Jersey.
Okay, it's like everybody thinks I'm Rad's arms because of the accent. I'm not. Listen. I was saying something emotional. I do genuinely love you guys, and I appreciate you guys coming in. And I don't say that about every guest, but I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see where you take the brand. I'm hoping to walk around the show a little bit because you're in town for a show.
Yeah.
And what show is it?
It is the USN Gathering, Usual Suspects Network. It's over at Planet Hollywood. It's in Traders Cove. Show starts tomorrow, 10 o'clock, goes till Saturday.
It's open, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's open to the public. You can buy tickets, get in.
So if you're in Las Vegas, kids,
Absolutely.
let everybody know where they can find both of you, the brand, and where they can search you guys out.
All right. Microtech is at Microtech Knives on Instagram, at Microtech Knives also on Facebook, microtechdives.com.
Knives.
Knives. Knives. My Instagram, I don't get on Facebook and do it too much. She does, but my Instagram is at Jason McCoy 76, and Kaylin's at Kaylin McCoy
There we go.
77.
Yes.
Yeah, so check them out. I know that they're very responsive, very open, and available. So if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Check out the websites. Check out the ats. If you're in the area, if you're in the Vegas area, check out the show if you get a chance to go down. I'm going to go down Friday myself and try to stop in and say hello.
Yeah, come by the booth. Definitely. It's kind of like a thing. You'll get a big hug from me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have to do it.
He's a hugger.
I'm a
He
hugger.
is.
And if
We're both huggers.
Huggers. And if you get the opportunity, guys, head over to the Microtech website. Check out the line. They have phenomenal stuff. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Q in the studio. Thank the management here. Thank K-Var. Head over to kvar.com. I don't know if you have K-Var pulled up, Q, but check out the website. Hopefully we're going to talk to you guys. I mean, we'd love to carry you guys.
I
Hopefully
like
we can get to
Q.
that
When
point.
does he come in here? When does Q come in here? I like
See?
See that Q talking about how good looking she was a while ago, moving mic so we can see her beautiful face. Now she's in love with Q.
Seriously.
I don't remember saying that personally.
Crazy.
That was I
Black
don't
guy's
remember.
trying to pick up my wife now.
See that? See
It's
how that
Vegas,
works?
man. It's Vegas.
It's Vegas. What do we say about Vegas, Q?
Butt naked
Everybody
on the
thinks
strip.
we're butt naked on the strip. They think we don't actually work. So I'm glad you guys took a minute to come over here. It means a
Thank
lot.
you.
Hopefully we'll
Thank
be able to
you.
hang out and rap for a few minutes
Absolutely.
after.
Absolutely.
Q, I think we covered it all.
I think we are out of here.
Send us
Good night,
out.
folks.